Good afternoon and welcome to Season AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Let us just check what we're doing, making sure it is all right. Just going to check one or two things. Good afternoon to you all, those of you joining us. We'll probably run through one or two things. Let me just check. I want to be sure that we got everything in the right manner, right way. So good afternoon. Please subscribe to Season AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Join us. Let us just check in as things are working. Okay, so we are going to be live on the platform in due course. Okay, so hopefully it should stabilize. Hopefully we'll be having to, I'm testing it to see how it works, to see if it's doing what it needs to do. So we're just checking it all. Good afternoon and welcome to Season AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Help us grow the platform. Yes, as we all know, we are on Facebook, and but Facebook is unpredictable somewhat, so we're not too sure what's going to happen with that. We're not too sure what's going to happen with that. We're just trying to check everything else. So if you're joining us for the first time, I haven't subscribed to Season AY, please help us grow the platform by subscribing, share the broadcast, help us reach more people. We're going to run through one or two topics today. The 8-point agenda of Tinubu, we'll touch on that. We'll hear some of the experts talk about it, and we will then touch on the coup in Gabon, and of course, the final thing is to talk on how the strangulation of African economies by the world financial structures. And I think we need to understand that, all of us collectively. This is Africa-wide. This is beyond one country. This is an actual system set up, designed to ensure that Africa remains suppressed in every way, shape, or form. So when you're thinking, you're looking on one area and you're looking at just in Nigeria alone, you're missing the point. For example, what they know, if you think about it, Nigeria is with 200 million people. Now, when you combine all of the 14 countries controlled by the French under the CFA, they are only up to 103 million. But we are both facing the same financial racist structures oppressing us. We need to really understand that. So please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to Season AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Please help us grow the platform. Go right now. I'd urge you to go right now. Go ahead right now to Season AY on YouTube. Hit the notification button. Give us thumbs up. Help us reach more people. We really need your support. We do appreciate you joining us and helping us by watching and by communicating with the others. You are helping us spread the message. On this platform, our ethos is to speak truth to power, to do a lot of research, to enlighten, to raise awareness, to help us and ultimately help our own communities on ground to be able to take control of their own future, of their own destiny through active participation in their own governance, using the powers that they have been hitherto unaware of for the last 24 years. What are those powers? Again, I will say it again. I hope many of you following us, you would know this by now. The powers are what I call the 42A and 42C, the powers of sovereignty. To help eat this a little bit, let me just do something real quick. Hopefully we're gonna try and get that out. I'm hoping that you can use that. We can be able to say that. I know those powers, but I want to put it on the screen so that when I'm saying it, you can relate to it. And please, I urge you, we need to help our communities to share, to have this information. And the best way you can help is to share this information as you're watching. Subscribe to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power, and help us reach more people. on YouTube, particularly on YouTube. We really need you to help us share that message. So let me just go into it now, and please, like I said, when you see it, do share. Well, we urge you to please share it. Now we're gonna go into it a little bit, and I will see it come up in shortly. I'm just trying to give you this information. So we're going to talk about what they're talking about the 8-point plan. But to be able to really make the real change that we want, I'm going to do this now, and I want you to have that information as we go forward, so that you can share this within your community. Let me just check. Is that correct? Just give me a minute. We're just checking what we're doing here. So I want to make sure that you have the right information, sorry. Oh, okay. Oh, that's not what I want. Sorry. We're going the other way. I want you to go right back so you can see it. Now, okay. Good. This is what I want. This is exactly the information that I want you to have. Okay, so now we've got the information in position. Now we can talk. So what I want you to do is think about 14.2a. 14.2a is what you see on the screen. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. It is very important that our people begin to understand that, because the song in the background is saying, how long gonna go to suffer? How long gonna go to suffer? We are asking a question. The only reason why we are suffering is because many people, successive governments, have successfully prevented us from knowing that we have and possess constitutional powers that we can actually use to hold them to account. That is why I am talking about 14.2a, and I will keep mentioning that point and reiterating it strongly and firmly. 14.2a says, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. Now, how do you use those powers? You use it by going to 14.2c, again, that you see on the screen. The participation by the people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. We need to make sure that our people begin to take this on board in all our communities. And that is why I endeavor to show this and talk about this at the beginning of all of my broadcasts. This information has been available for us since 1999, but many and indeed successive governments have ensured that we do not have the possibility of actually having this information and then sharing it with us, encouraging us to actually participate in our governance. Those two sections that I showed you now, they are showing you that you're a sovereign, and then they are showing you how to exercise your sovereignty. To be able to exercise the sovereignty, the only way we can achieve that is, of course, through active participation in our governance. Participate on a daily basis. For example, your monthly allocation coming to your local government, you have the power to actually hold them to account using these powers that you see on the screen. So what I would like us all to do in all our communities, those of you watching now, share this, take a screenshot of what you see on the screen of those comments, those words, and share it in our communities. Because that way we are beginning to awaken our people. Of course, I've done this in Yoruba, it's been in Igbo. I will do another program whereby it will be focused solely on that in those languages, and we'll have people come in and talk about it as well. But first of all, we need to begin to encourage our people to know that they possess these powers and they can hold their governance to account. It is of immense importance that we begin to do that, because we will continue to ask the question, how long will we going to suffer, until we all take collective action to make the change that we need and begin to hold our governance to account. You see, currently the state of play that we have in Nigeria now is that we are constantly always giving our people fish. We are always giving our people, our people are hungry. We're going to solve their problem. those of us abroad, we are trying to solve their problem by giving them fish, and we are making them dependent on us collectively, those of us abroad. And curiously, here's the sad thing: we don't realize that what our people possess in terms of natural resources far outweighs what we can provide for them combined, collectively, those of us, all of us abroad. What we need to do is to help our people to unlock the key to be able to tap into those resources through their sovereign powers, and using those powers to hold their governors to account. That is what we need to encourage. That is why those powers on the screen that you see now are things we need to talk to all our family, our community about. We need to be talking to them about it on a daily basis, to awaken them, to make them realize you possess these powers and you can achieve far more than you realize. You need to, we've got to try and awaken them to those powers, and gradually get them to ignore those things that have been put in their way. Things like religion, religious divisions and all of that. I mean, ethnic divisions. All of these things, they are all mechanisms to ensure that the people never ever concentrate and hold their governors to account. So that's why we're saying what I'm saying here, and I'm taking quite a deliberate time to discuss and explain this on all my broadcasts, because the key to giving our people longevity in terms of our prosperity and really achieving our true destiny lies in this information. For as long as we're in Nigeria and we are under this constitution, we need to ensure that we begin to actively participate in our governance. I'm not saying that is the end for me. I am for Yoruba Nation. Please do not misunderstand. I am for Yoruba Nation. But I recognize that without these powers that I'm showing you on the screen, without us actually beginning to actively use those powers on a daily basis in our community, we cannot build a nation that will provide roads, water, light, schools, healthcare, safety, security for our people. It is of immense importance. Our role, you see those two sections, let me read you again, section 42C. The participation by the people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. One of the key provisions of this constitution is that you are a sovereign. We need our people to embrace that. You cannot behave as a sovereign if you are seeing yourself as a sinner, or as a son of Christ, or say as bowing to one religion or the other. Your sovereignty. What I also want you to know, Section 1.3 states, if any other law, I'm paraphrasing here, conflicts with the laws of the nation, the law of the nation shall have more power, and that other law shall be void. So what I'm saying to you is this: within what you call Nigeria, you need to understand that religion, either religion, Christianity or Islam, has no power more supreme than this constitution. It is in our interest to know these powers. It reminds us. That doesn't mean you cannot pray. It doesn't mean you cannot follow any religion. But it makes you understand that within Nigeria, the constitution is supreme. And it is supreme, and it manifests in you that you are a sovereign and you can exercise those powers. So we will continue on a gradual basis to encourage our people to know the power they possess within that constitution. Because of the fact that it is supreme, that means it is above any religion. Any religion, it supersedes any religion, because it is a document that confers powers to we the citizens. What they have cleverly done to us is to separate us from our powers. They put religion in the space where we should be exercising our powers to hold those we elect to office to account. and we need to begin to participate in our governance on a daily basis. So let me read that to you one more time. Section 14.2a. I'm going to close my eyes and say it because I know it, and I want you to be able to do this as well. So 14.2a states, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. It makes you and I sovereigns. We need to begin to exercise that sovereignty. How do we exercise it? 14.2c. The participation by the people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. Now you see, I said that off head because I am so committed to making our people be awakened, be aware of those powers. And it is in using the powers on a daily basis through, I give you an example how we can use those powers right now. Just a quick example. Look at this issue with the refineries. We shouldn't be waiting for anybody or hearing stories from the government. We have the power right now in all 774 local government areas to hold our governors to account. How do we do that? We must begin in all 774 local governments, begin to call for a monthly town hall meeting. You call for a town hall meeting, you request as a sovereign, you demand, not request, you demand that your local government chairman, state House of Assembly members, House of Reps, and senators, they attend a monthly meeting with you. And when I say you, I mean in each of the local government areas, we sovereigns, we collectively gather and we call them to a meeting at the local government office, because we pay for the buildings. It is also paying. We call them to a meeting at that local government office, and we call for those people to, and they must attend. And at that meeting, you will read to them the following words. You will know it. 14.2a. You will say these words. I want us to do this. Welcome all. Oga, una do well. We greet you now. Oga chairman, local government chairman, I hail you. House of Assembly, State House of Assembly member, Oga, you do well. We greet. House of Reps, Oga, yes, we. Atrowe salute to. Senator, Oga, the Oga of the Ogas. We greet you now. Me una Sudan well. I beg. Before we begin, now you go and read this to them. We want to remind you now. Waiting day inside the constitution where we take swear una in. Here is the constitution. So you now go and say these words. Please, we need to remind you, and this has to be happening every month without fail. You remind them that in the constitution 14.2a states, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. So you read that to them first at every meeting, to remind them, so that they know that the power that they're using, it comes from you, the community, collectively. Now, again, so the problem that we have right now in Nigeria is the subsidy for the fuel. I hope you know that subsidy is already back in the system. The subsidy that the president took away is already back. They're already giving subsidy back again by the back door, but they're not telling us that. Subsidy is back on the screen. It is back in play. They are having to pay more money for buying fuel outside. What we need in our community is to begin to tell all of the people that are sitting, State House of Assembly, local government chairman, State House of Assembly member, House of Reps, senators. We tell them that in our community, we are instructing them to get the federal government of Nigeria to fix the 4 refineries. No ifs, no buts. We need to be, this has to be happening in all 774 local government areas. We should be having meetings to instruct them, tell them that we want the State House of Assembly members, the local government chairman, the House of Reps and senators to go back to the government, to go to the State House of Assembly and the local and the National Assembly, to tell them that we, the people, we demand for the 4 refineries. What are those 4 refineries? They are Warri, Kaduna, Port Harcourt 1, Port Harcourt 2, that they must be fixed. That we, the people, We have information that those refineries, it will only cost 6.8 billion naira to fix the 4 refineries. Right now, the government is borrowing 2.1 trillion naira to buy processed oil in. That is costing far more. For as long as they don't fix the refinery, we will continue to spend more and more money on fixing the refinery. So that is something we could do right now in every community. We can get involved. We can encourage our people to do that right now. And they use the power that allows them to do that is what you're seeing on the screen. So this is what I'm trying to do. We are trying to impart knowledge to awaken our people. Those of us abroad, there's only so much we can do. We've been giving them fish for too long. Now we have to teach them how to fish so that they can begin to take control of their own destiny on ground right there, using the powers within the Constitution. So that's an example of what I mean. So we'll come back and talk about that. And I'm trying to encourage many communities to begin to do that. Because this refinery, I'm telling you that for as long as they don't fix this refinery, the cost of the petrol that you will be buying, it will continue to rise. It will continue to rise. And it will make our lives a misery. Right now, the petrol is over 600 naira a liter. And it is because we are not processing the oil in our own country. We are buying imported processed oil. Because of the bad, the rate of our naira against the dollar, we are always going to pay more. We are always going to pay more. And the longer we don't fix our refinery, we will spend 3 trillion, 4 trillion, 5 trillion, 6 trillion on buying the same amount of oil every month. When by spending 6.8 billion naira alone, we will ensure that we have prices of oil drop down back to below 150 naira a liter. It is possible because we are the ones processing it. We are the ones producing it for our people. People, we need collective action on this. We need collective action on this. Our people are suffering. So I just wanted to just put that in the mix. Now, we will come back on that. Please take a screenshot of what you see on the screen. Share it in your community. This is what we need to do. Those of you watching me, we need to make a change on ground. It is not about going to any church or any mosque. It is about making our people aware of the powers they possess. The religion of Islam and Christianity requires the people to see themselves as helpless because that's where they get money from. Whereas this constitution, what I'm telling you, is showing you the power we possess and how to use it to improve our lives collectively in our communities. Please share this document. Take a screenshot and share it. And of course, as I've said before, go ahead and subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube, the platform where we speak truth to power. Help us reach more people. The song in the background is a song I wrote. It says, how long are we going to suffer? To end the suffering, it requires our active participation on a daily basis in our governance. And by using these powers, we can begin to take control. We are required by law to monitor our government through this section 14.2c. The participation by the people in the government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. Because we are sovereigns, our role is to monitor our government. We need to teach our communities to begin to monitor their own government. We've been waiting, we've been praying, oh God, may God enter the... No, God is going to come from above to do that for us. We need to begin to do it right now in all our communities. So please share this broadcast. It has very, very important information that we must begin to use. I'll try and do it in Pidgin English at another broadcast as well. And of course, I do the Yoruba version as well. And of course, I'll bring my other brothers on and talk about it in Igbo and other languages as well. But please share what you see on the screen. Very, very important. So we're going to move across now. Let's now go and look at the 8-point agenda of Tinubu. I wanted to talk about that first because it's really important that we share this information. Please subscribe to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Let's proceed. So we're going to bring that off. I will come back with that later on, but it's important. But what I want to do is move on to... Let us now hear the thoughts of some economic experts and political science experts in terms of the 8-point agenda of Tinubu. And I'll make one or two points as we're watching. and then we'll talk about Gabon, and then I'll talk about the last issue, which would be the impact of the world global financial institutions that are frankly racist in their policies against the entire African continent. They are frankly racist. But let's go ahead and talk about this now. So let us start off with the 8-point agenda. Now, before we go ahead and talk about it, let me just read to you the 8-point agenda as read by the minister Olawale Edun, I think. He talked about he listed the agenda as including food security, ending poverty, economic growth, job creation, access to capital, improving security, improving the playing field on which people and particularly companies operate, rule of law, and finally fighting corruption. So you can see it's all words as far as we can see. It's not really, they're all words, and unfortunately, the track record of previous government leaves us with very little, hope on what's going on. Yes, they are trying. Don't get me wrong. They are listing that. Now it needs to be backed with action. So let's hear what the experts think about this 8-point plan. Let us hear, and we may interject as we have the discussions. Let's go ahead.
Yes, they've lifted this agenda, 8 points. I mean, former President Jonathan had his 7 points, Erdogan had, I think, 7 points as well, and they all had these points. Yes, the ministers are on board now to ensure that all of this trickle down, they make things happen. Plus, we also have the governors who have received loan and grants, 5 billion, expected to ensure that the people don't feel, at least reduce the economic crunch. But maybe you should tell us now, from what you've seen, what kind of impact do you see all of this having on the economy?
One would have expected this 8-point agenda to come up much earlier. This government has been. Imagine the effect this would have had on Nigerians if at inauguration, alongside with the president's statement about subsidy, he went on to say, I am coming in as president with an 8-point agenda, and then he enumerates them. There will be excitement in the polity, etc. So it's coming a little later than it should, but it's good that it has come. The other point to make is that it's also following the pattern that has become the norm for more than 20 years now, where governments, national governments, no longer speak of national development plans, but of regime agenda. When you speak of a comprehensive national development plan, even the tiring of roads will not depend on whether I like Obani or not, but on the fact that if in the next 15 years we tire X number of roads because of their economic value, we integrate so you're talking about national development, but are they before the expiration you review and you go on? But here governments don't even review budget performance. So that's it. So what you have in place of national development plans are, what you call activity plans for problem solving. That is it. On that basis, you look at those 8 points. Oh, where my body is itching, okay, I'll give you something to rub on it. Whereas I need a comprehensive health check. Now, looking at the 8 points.
Exactly.
There is nothing like poverty. What's the word now?
It's ending poverty.
You can't. Yeah, there are countries where you can speak of having ended poverty in that most people can deal with their basic needs. But I think they're speaking of poverty management and progressive eradication. So moving on, moving on to look at all of them, the agenda has come out. The thing is to make sure it delivers results. Food security is tied to national security.
Yes.
Part of the crisis of feeding today is that farmers have been out of business for more than 6 years because of banditry. Demand is higher than supply. Most places in the northeast are used to supply certain kinds of food. Re-desertification has taken place. The middle belt, the farmers are chased out by herders. So all of that crisis together. So having brought out the agenda, a few things would happen. Number one, the Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Environment, and Minister of Water Resources should work together. So that if you want food and you're building dams, Ministry of Water Resources and Environment need to work with you for you to realize that when you build a dam, the volume of water going downstream will drop by more than 50%. The farmers and fishermen there will go out of job. So there has to be a comprehensive approach to all of that.
Yeah.
And when you speak of rule of law, let them start, like you said, by establishing precedents. What this has done, whereas it's good that it has come out, it has also given the impression that the government wasn't really preparing. This election took place in February. It was in May. And whether you like Tinubu or not, people around him are known for strategic engagement. Seriously. So one had thought that on being sworn in, with that announcement about so that a lot of other things will roll out. And it takes us back to the observations of some people, maybe extreme, like Obaseki, about whether they were... Look at the subsidy, for instance. We could see there was really no program of alleviation when he came on. Then you look...
That's what I'm really saying. You know, I talked about it before I started playing the video, from channels, by the way. I intimated this. It was on the one hand, it was good that the government said they're putting a stop to subsidy. But the second part of their strategy should have been immediately, as they were stopping the subsidy, they should have filled that gap with immediate fixing of the refineries. They should have plugged that gap to stop the refinery and not put something in to begin to fix the refineries, those 4 refineries, Warri, Kaduna, Port Harcourt 1, Port Harcourt 2. That has left a gap. So now that they stopped it, it just simply puts more pressure. When the oil that they're now importing, you know, when that runs out, they'll have to go and find more money. So when they find more money to buy that oil, that is subsidy by the back door. I'm not making any, I'm not abusing or anything. We are stating the facts. Had it been, it should have been a two-pronged approach. One, bring down the cost, reduce the subsidy, stop the subsidy. 2, put in place to fix the refinery, the 4 refineries. Put in the plan immediately. Engage the people. And this is where I talk to you, to we the citizens. We must participate. We need to put pressure on the government at that particular point here. Put pressure on them through our local government areas. Come together and hold them to account. Use the powers of sovereignty that we have, that I spoke about moments earlier. That is what we need to start using, those powers. Going to any church. You see, when you go to a church and to a mosque and to pray, that is going to prevent you from taking the action you need to take. Because the church will say, God will do it. God Most High, this and that. And it is a way to stop you from really holding your governments to account. Because you will notice the government are actively supporting those religions. And let's pray. And they say to you, let us pray for the minister. So it is taking the mind of we the people away from the powers we possess. Again, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. That is the power you possess. And your powers supersedes the Bible and the Quran in what you know as Nigeria. I just wanted to put that in there. And we have to keep repeating this point so that we can all get it in all our communities. Our own destiny is in our own hands through our active participation in our governance. It is a must that we do that. Now, let's go forward. It doesn't mean I support one Nigeria. Don't get me wrong. Because what would happen is, once we start participating in that process, it will now take us to the step whereby we can insert a referendum in the constitution. We get those we elected to office to actually put a referendum within the constitution, and then we can now exercise our self-determination. That is the long-term goal for myself. I'm very clear about that. But whilst we're in Nigeria, we need to use those powers. I hope that is clear. So let's go forward.
Look, today, I think they say the money they are sharing is 23% less than. Now, subsidy has been removed for 2.5 months.
Yeah. We're saving a lot
Where
more
is
money.
the money?
See? Good question. Where's
That's
the money?
Question. Nobody,
Where's the money?
They say they got to 400 billion.
I think it's
Where's the money?
also being saved in the excess crude account.
We need to ask the question.
It's public communication and credibility by talking to people. That's it. Imagine Nigerians, you now get a press release. We've saved in the last, because if you say you saved 400 billion in 4 weeks,
why not fix the refineries?
that means in the next 4 weeks you've saved another 400. Let's believe you. But we'll also remind you that the record of government expenditure on subsidy.
So if they say they save 400 billion, why don't they invest a large part, some part of that in fixing the refinery? 6.8 billion. Why not? Why not? You need to start asking that question at your local level. You start calling. That's why I'm saying I'm calling for monthly meetings with all of these people. You need to start doing that in all our communities. If you don't participate in that process, they will continue to loot our money, and you have the power to do so. We have to encourage our people to become more aware of the powers that we're talking about. What are those powers? Let me show you quickly. Those of you who may be joining us. What are those powers? I'm just going to quickly show you so that you know. These are the powers I'm talking about. So I want you to familiarize yourself with those powers. You have them. Every community can exercise these powers, and you are backed by your own constitution to use these powers. So we are talking about that, and I'm going to keep reiterating this point. Please do share the broadcast. You are watching Citizen NY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Help us grow this platform. Go ahead to Citizen NY on YouTube, subscribe, hit notification button, give us thumbs up, and like it. Like the broadcast as you're watching it to help us grow that platform. We appreciate your support. Let's go forward. And of course, we welcome stars. If you want to give us stars on Facebook or super chats on YouTube, we welcome that also, because all of that is helping. We're doing a lot of work in trying to raise awareness about this constitution. And at this point, I want to take this time now to again call on the federal government to have this constitution translated into our local languages. Indeed, furthermore, you can do that in all our local government areas. We can begin to we can request for that right now. We can request for the constitution to be in your local language so that you can be more participating actively in your governance, because you know what is being said about your government. You know the laws in your own language. We can do this. This is a responsibility for all of us, not just Citizen AY trying to raise awareness. All of us, because when we know what is in the constitution in our language, we can be more actively, we can participate more actively. And that is the aim of what we're doing in the broadcast here. Let's go forward.
Was more than 400 billion for 4 weeks. So, but that communication is not happening. Where is the money going? Just make it public. Earn yourself credibility. This is what we've said. This is what part of it has been used for. This is where the rest of it is.
That particular point, again, I can't emphasize this. We can demand for those records be made public. Using the powers of sovereignty, we can demand it. And this is where our active participation, because when we're watching them at every step, it means we are monitoring them day to day. And we have to do it collectively from one community to the next. The days of waiting and praying, we spend, can you just picture this? We will go to a church in our thousands and pray. We will go to the mosque in our thousands and pray. But yet we possess powers that remove the need for us congregating and praying. But we come together in our communities, in our hundreds and thousands, to hold them to account, demand that they release those information so you can follow what is going on. Our governors are counting on confusing us whilst they loot from us. That's what they've all done. This government may be trying to change, but we have to help them do the right thing by being actively participating, monitoring them on a daily basis. He talked about it. Where are those funds? We need to see it, to track it. We are sovereigns. We are sovereigns. And our powers supersedes those of the Bible and the Quran put together. Let me see if I can show you what I mean. Because some people are maybe doubting what I'm saying now. Let me see if I can show you. Let me see. I'll see if I can show you. I think I have something on that. 1 second. Let me see if I can bring this together. I'll bring it up in a couple of clicks. So let me just show you what I mean. Because sometimes when we talk about this, people don't understand. Your powers as a sovereign is more powerful than the Bible and the Quran combined. Because a lot of people tend to you've been falsely tricked to believe that the Bible and the Quran will solve your problems. They can't. First of all, they hold no constitutional powers in this country, in Nigeria. They hold no constitutional powers. They cannot do anything that you collectively using your sovereignty can do. They cannot even do a tenth of it. I'm here to prove it to you. Let us just bear with me. Let me get that. I need to give you something here. The Constitution. I want to just put in the 1999. Let me just see if I can get it for you. I've written it somewhere, and I want to just show you so that you can see how powerful this is. Now, I will show you shortly. Please share this broadcast. It's very important. I'm not here to abuse any religion. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not here to abuse any religion, but I'm trying to put, it is important that we put these religions in their proper context. They are below our constitutional powers as sovereigns. They do not possess the powers that we, the citizens, possess. They don't. We need to understand that, and I'm hoping that by doing these programs, we are awakening our people to begin to take the collective action we need to take. We must. Now, so I'm going to show you on the broadcast. I hope you can see it. I don't want to. So let me just get it back. Can you see it? I hope you can see it. So this, section 1.3. I want to draw your attention to section 1.3. I need you to really understand this. Listen, once again, I am not here to abuse your religion. I'm not. But I need you to put your religion in the proper context. The religion that you've been relying on to solve your problems cannot solve your problem. Praying and doing all that, going to church, thinking if you're a good church, your area will get water, you will get a better life, or go to the mosque. It cannot. It cannot. Because it possesses zero powers. Zero powers. Let me read it to you. Now, it says here, if any other law is inconsistent with the provisions of this constitution shall prevail, and that other law shall, to the extent of the inconsistency, be void. Please understand what that means. It means that for millions of you going to church or going to the mosque and hoping that that will change the mind of your government, you are just putting all the powers in the hands of the politicians. The real power that you have is what I keep reminding you. Those powers, they cannot ignore. The powers 14.2a, 14.2c, the government cannot ignore. That is why the government is telling you, Pastor Kumuyi came on air telling you, oh, let us pray for them. Let us pray for the government. Because it's what the government has told them to do. The religions of Islam and Christianity are working with the government to ensure that the people don't exercise the powers I've just shown you moments earlier. And what are those powers? I will keep bringing it up. We need to share this information. The Bible, you see, what I showed you now, because of section 1.3, you will now be able to see that the Constitution of Nigeria, even though I want it to be reviewed, I want to go for self-determination. The powers as it stands in that constitution is more powerful than the Bible and the Quran, because they say if any other law is inconsistent with this constitution will be supreme, and that other law will be, to all intents and purposes, be void. What does that mean? Your Bible and your Quran, it holds no water. The harder you pray, you can pray as hard as you like. You can fast all you want. It won't change this indisputable fact. And I want us to really understand that. The powers that we possess here, we must begin to use in our communities. We have to be very clear about that. The pastors and the imams are here to distract us from using the powers you see on the screen. So I'm hoping that many of you watching will pass this message on. I'm counting on you. I'm counting on you as a fellow citizen, as people who have got relatives at home, who are suffering under the weight of this unjust and cruel, fraudulent fuel subsidy, failure of governance, failure of accountability. We need to begin to use these powers. I urge you, please, 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 if you haven't shared this broadcast, hit like, give us a subscribe to Zinewai, hit the notification button, give us thumbs up. Share this to everybody you know. These powers that you see on the screen is more powerful than your Bible and Quran, because section 1.3 states that any other law is inconsistent with the Constitution, that law shall be deemed void. So that voids any power that you may read in the Bible or the Quran within Nigeria. Within Nigeria, this constitution remains supreme. We must understand that. Okay, I'm sorry if we need to re-emphasize this point for all of us to understand. Because the prayers, all these prayer warriors and everything else, they are just distracting your mind. We need collectively to begin to hold our governors to account. They don't talk to you about, the powers I'm showing you. None of them. Be it Christian, be it Muslim. I'm showing you what you need to begin to hold your governor to account. You possess those powers collectively in your community. Let's begin to use it. Right, okay. So let's please subscribe to Zinewai on YouTube. Hit the notification button, give us a thumbs up. So let's carry on and listen. Sometimes I will just put this in between what we're saying to make it very clear. And you can really play this back later on. Let's go for it. Let's go ahead. So
it will make sense.
Ayo Buki.
Thank you, Chamberlain. Mr. Obani, I'd just like to follow up on Nyota's question about, the rule of law component in the 8-point agenda of Mr. President, the current administration. Even though you express optimism that the judiciary is a pressure group and would, make government accountable, it appears there's little hope in that regard when you consider, how most big names, the senior advocates of Nigeria, are the ones in the defense of politicians on curious cases of technicalities in the law courts. And then there is that, optimism yet again that the new Attorney General and Minister of Justice is a square peg in a square hole. But unless we've missed it, he has said little or nothing on the criticism about, the lack of compliance with due process in the case of the suspended CBN boss and the helmsman, suspended EFCC boss. Where's the hope that the judiciary, the NBA in this case, would indeed be the hope of the upholding of the rule of law of this administration?
Well, the issue of rule of law has always been our principal thing that we believe. We believe so much in ensuring that at any point in time, the rule of law should be upheld by any government that is in power. It's barely up to 2 weeks before, after this man, the new Attorney General has been appointed, and he's settling down. He was at a conference, and he made promises like, look, we should help him to succeed by advising where necessary and also giving him all the support that he needs in order to make a success out of his position that he has just been appointed. I want to be optimistic that the issue of rule of law with this new man at the helm of affairs in the Ministry of Justice will be a different ballgame entirely. There is nothing wrong in being optimistic. Now, for the issue of NBA as a body, we must insist that things be done properly. We must insist that we must have an independent and autonomous judiciary that will be bold enough at every point in time to dispense justice to every man, every woman, irrespective of tribe, ethnicity, or status. We insist on it. It's a minimum requirement. If you are appointed a judge, you are expected to dispense justice. You don't look at somebody's pocket. You don't look at somebody's where he comes from.
Again, everything he's saying is right. Everything he's saying is right. But what is missing is we, the citizens, actively, collectively in our community participating through monitoring the activities of our government. We must monitor the activities of our government using the powers we possess. Section 14.2a, Section 14.2c. We need to be training and teaching ourselves about this in our community. There should be a drive in our community to make this something that is so of immense importance. More important than those religions, because as I've stated to you, those religions, they have no constitutional powers. And as you know, the government are the ones telling us that they have a constitution. That is the only document that they believe in. They don't believe in any religion. They don't believe in they don't believe in the Quran. They don't believe in the Bible. They only believe that in the government, the constitution that they were sworn in on. So please, 14.2a, I will read it to you again offhand. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. And then the participation, 14.2c, the participation by the people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. You see, in that statement, no mention is made of you, the Bible, that Bible that you carry. I have a copy here. Don't worry, I'm just going to show you. I have a copy. You stand, you are holding the Bible, and you're praying, you're holding the Bible tightly. That Bible has no constitutional powers, neither does the Quran. It has no constitutional powers within Nigeria. We need to use what we have. The powers, we must use it. So everything they're saying there, it's good. But the missing ingredient is our active participation, monitoring our governance on a daily basis. We need to begin to teach each other. That is what this program is about. This Bible is useless. This Bible is useless in making sure that you have water, light, road, schools. It is useless. The same with the Quran. It is useless. We need to understand that it is useless. So when you go to the church Monday and you will see people holding the Bible tightly, and they will quote the verses, and you can quote all the verse you want. It has no constitutional power in Nigeria. You need to begin to use the powers we possess. I'm sorry to be very, very blunt, but the tighter you hold on to this Bible, the more you are giving power away to your government. You need to begin to use the Constitution. We need to be referring to that. We need to be teaching our children, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year, 10-year-old. Start teaching them about what is in our Constitution that I'm showing you. That is where you need to go. So I'm making a point here deliberately. This Bible, as far as our any development in our nation is concerned, they are useless. It is useless. It has no benefit whatsoever. It is a distraction. And I'm sorry if you don't like the fact that I'm making an example of it, but for us to have any development in our nation, we need to disabuse our minds to believe that prayer of any kind, as a Christian, as a Muslim, is a solution to a problem, when we are ignoring the document that tells us expressly that the Bible and the Quran has no powers, no constitutional power, zero. And that is the same document that we hold on to. No wonder that our nation is not developing. But it's because we've been conditioned to believe that way. We are trying to reawaken us through programs like this. The Bible and the Quran have zero powers within Nigeria, because the Constitution is supreme. I just showed you in this discussion. But let's go forward. I'm sorry if I'm very, very emphatic about this, but we need to be very clear. Let's proceed. Please, you're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak to power. Let's proceed. Subscribe to Citizen AY. Hit the notification button. Give us thumbs up. Help us reach more people. Let's proceed.
We insist on it. It has happened in some of African countries. They were now becoming like a model. We must model our judiciary like what has been happening in even the Rwanda, that our governors are now going for training, and then the issue of even Kenya, and then Singapore. What did Singapore do? Or what did they do? What happened when they came into power and discovered that the judiciary had an issue of backlog of cases? The president then employed lawyers who were in practice and said, look, come and let us decongest the courts. Now, if you are interested in remaining in the bench after the entire process, you can remain. But if not, you can go back to your practice. And before you know it, Singapore, started on that note. And today, Singapore is one of the countries, most countries going to go and learn how to probably deal with quicker dispensation of justice. we have so many issues really bedeviling our judiciary. As I speak to you, a case you have can last up to 20 years. 20 years to, and I had expected that with the former vice president of the country being a professor of law, with somebody like a former governor of Lagos State in that particular government, and many lawyers, attorney general and all that were there in the last dispensation, that would have been something that would have been done with our judiciary in terms of justice delivery, timely justice delivery. We are still having issues that it takes average of 20 years for you to resolve issues that you have before the court. And it makes people to lose.
All of this now, from what you can see, from everything that's been said now, it goes back down to our condition to not participate in our governance. We've been conditioned not to participate because, you see, we the citizens, we are going to be the light that shines on our government to prevent corruption from happening, to prevent injustice collectively. If we do not begin to do that, going for any, even for Yoruba Nation or Biafra, is meaningless. We need to begin to exercise those powers now in preparation for when that time comes, when we go for referendum in our separate nations. We need to begin to exercise those powers, because it's when the community says no, we need transparency. We need to know where the funds are. We need to, the courts must, there has to be transparency in the system. The minute there's transparency, corruption cannot flourish. Because we are, God don't talk. We forget that we are the supreme sovereigns. We are, the people in government are answerable to us collectively, and we must begin to exercise those powers. This Bible and the Quran, they are trying to tell you that you do not have any powers. I'm here to tell you that the Quran and the Bible are trying to trick you from exercising the powers that I've spoken about. What the man is saying here, all it requires from us is we, the citizens, to begin to monitor the activities and the actions of those in government, including the judiciary, when we begin question them, and we have every right as sovereigns. And all of them will sit up over time. It's not going to happen overnight, but over time. So we need this. It's not going to another country. You're just trying to waste money. Our participation in our governance is what is missing. It is what is missing, and it must happen if you're going to have good governance in that nation. We must teach. This is something which should be taught. How many of you have been taught about the Constitution? How many of you have read the Constitution back to back? How many of you have know parts of this Constitution? You don't. But how many of you know about the Bible? How many of you about the Quran? All of us. But barely, I can tell you that barely 1 million of us, out of 200 million, know about the Constitution. But 200 million are holding to a document that is useless. That is useless to them in Nigeria, because Nigeria, the Constitution is supreme. This one is deceiving you. It is preventing you from using the powers that you have in the Constitution. I will keep saying it. The Quran and the Bible. I'll keep saying that. So I'll listen a bit more. We'll forward a bit more, because we're going to talk about Gabon.
Confidence. It's an issue we have to address. NBA has to address it. The judiciary has to address it. The government has to address it. And luckily for us now, we have a Senate president who is a lawyer. Bamidele Okoyemi, who is a leader in the House, is also a lawyer. I believe that this new government will have to do enough in order to really address this issue of justice delivery. It's an issue. You go to court, you waste all the time, all the years, and you don't get justice because of issue of not funding the judiciary, having enough personnel to deal with issues, and so many other issues. And even the Supreme Court. Somebody has suggested, and it's pending before the National Assembly or before now, why can't we have regional Supreme Court? Not all cases from the state should end at the Supreme Court of Nigeria. They can end at the regional Supreme Court. We can have Southwest Supreme Court, Southeast Supreme Court, and even North Supreme Court. So there are cases from the state that should end there. Not all the cases must come to Supreme Court. Only constitutional cases and some cases that has been enacted in law. But as I speak to you today, even customary matters go as far as going to Supreme Court. And today, you cannot get a date until 2026 or 27 in the Supreme Court of Nigeria. And meanwhile, you want those issues to be resolved at the judiciary, and you are not getting that particular justice delivered. So I think that And now that we have a new government that say rule of law, they must look at this issue holistically, issue of looking at the Supreme Court of Nigeria, looking at the various high courts, looking at the various federal high courts, and see what we can do to ensure quicker justice dispensation. It's very critical so that we don't lose confidence and begin to take laws into our hand. That's
Mr. Obani,
my take concerning
Mr. Obani,
yes.
Beyond the administrative, aspect of, the legal work, there's also the concern about lawyers being involved in politics, and you've rightly noted, that one of your past NBA presidents is making a foray into politics, and there's also that concern that past NBA presidents have been less and less critical about government, particularly in recent times. But let's leave that part of the conversation. Let me come to you, Professor Okechukwu. One of the other components of the 8-point agenda of the administration is improving security. And we have with us now former governors being Minister of Defense and Ministers of State of Defense. It's come to our notice that the budget allocated to the military has more of the allocation going to infrastructure development rather than welfare and remuneration of the men of the force. Do you see these these ministers weighing in to commence any significant reforms that will see a transparent process in the budgeting of the military?
Yes, I do, but I'll take a slightly wider view. If they are ministers and their concern is to expand budget, they should be fired. Former governors are supposed to be chief security officers of their states, but the police commissioner is not under their command.
Yet more problems.
But this is their chance to rethink the national security from the angle of integration, inclusivity, and efficiency. And should also ensure that governors, when they hold security meetings, mandatorily involve the prison services or correctional services. Because you see, nations develop with data. It is from the prisons that you find what percentage of people are in prison because of armed robbery, because of clashes and the rest of it, and it enables you profile criminality, the level of convictions from the different places. Well, coming back to the question of the military, these are the things I believe, rightly or wrongly, that they should focus on. Number one, the Nigerian military is comprehensively overstretched because of the crisis, such that you see soldiers in the streets and at checkpoints doing what should be police work. And you ask yourself, how many soldiers, how many army personnel do we have in the country to warrant even one of them performing in the civilian arena? So that's a major crisis to be addressed at several levels, at the level of recruitment, at the level of personnel management, at the level of weapon efficiency and weapon variety. That's one. Two, you come to the matter of the crisis of terrorism, banditry, among other things. As ministers of defense, they must ask themselves, how is it that criminals could be embedded in a community and the traditional ruler does not know? Security must devolve and drill down to the fact that you know who is living with you. Remember the reported case some years back, I hope it's factually correct, of when some public facilities were vandalized, I think street lights, solar lamps and all the rest of it in Kaduna State. And the report I recall was that when El-Rufai assured the traditional rulers in the area that they will lose their stools, if these things were not recovered, that it all came back. I hope that report is correct. But apart from that instance, there have been several other cases, at least one of them in which I was involved in, and where I say, listen, this area is not no man's land. If the people here cannot find out who and who did what is going on, hold all of them liable, suspend the traditional ruler. The matter was resolved in 3 days. So coming back to the whole notion of national security, we spent a lot on procurement of equipment. As it reflected in the performance of the military, when we were about to procure Tucano helicopters, everybody said that once it comes, Boko Haram will become history. When we bought it, we put it on display at Eagle Square and came to cut the tape. I felt scandalized. You're about to go into a fight with me, And first of all, you put up a performance to show everybody the kind of trick you used to defeat me. And I'm watching also. That's another wretched political gesture that shouldn't exist. And I'm sure you recall the report about 2 months ago now, 3, because it wasn't done under this government, where we were told that the peace we have now on Kaduna Road, and there's no bombing, not much attack, was secured through a 3-month renewable agreement with bandits by the hierarchy of our military leadership. Don't you feel scandalized as a Nigerian? It's in the papers, you can go and verify it. 3 months renewable agreement to stop hostilities with bandits. In other words, you met them and signed the agreement with them. What are you supposed to do to bandits other than take them out? Part of that report also thanked Nigerians who meant well, those who willingly, as well-wishers and supporters of peace, helped in contributing 2.5 billion naira that went into this. What does the military exist to do? This is official communication. Oh, we've secured it by signing. What happened to Katsina State? Masari signed agreements with bandits and the same trouble anyway. So that's the point about it. They should have a more holistic, comprehensive approach to national security rather than just focus on budget. The element of budget is an incidental issue.
Well,
and all of that, but they must take it seriously.
You know, these things that you have outlined only brings to mind for me the role or a lack thereof of local government authorities and that conversation around local government autonomy.
Yes. Now, speaking of that, this is where, again, on the issue about security, just want to touch on that briefly. It's all tied to the lack of accountability. Those in government, they've created a system whereby successive governments have made sure that we, the people, never get a chance to participate in government. Thereby, they will be able to control everything that is happening, and they will not be held to account. The system that we are under, they are telling us is democratic, but it is anything but, because they have designed it in such a way, even though they tell us it is a democracy, that we are following the constitution, because they have prevented many of us from knowing about the powers 14.2a and 14.2c. We, the citizens, when they tell us something, oh, we've done this, oh, we agree, oh, we thank government, we bow. We've been conditioned to accept this government, a successive government, with their bad, with corruption, with everything. I think, well, they have the powers. We are trying to change that. And of course, that impacts, because they now have that power, nobody can question them when they do the wrong things, such as this thing they mentioned about the Tocanos and the where the funds meant for security has gone. As citizens, 14.2a again gives us the powers to question them. Yes, we know there are certain things they cannot tell us in terms of security, national security, international security, but there are certain things that we can do. So please, I keep reiterating this point. It goes back down to us now, that in our communities now, we must begin to share this information about 14.2a and 14.2c. It is so important. We cannot leave this in the hands of the very people who are fleecing the nation. They are. And if we want to help this new government to achieve, we must participate. We must watch them. We must remind them, no. We trust that this is your plan, but we are going to steer you in the right direction through our active participation in our governance. Very, very important point I'm making. Again, this Bible and the Quran, they are useless. They are useless in this process. They are distracting your mind. I need you to wake up and hold them to account so you can get roads, water, light, schools, bridges in your community without breaking away from these two documents that have zero powers. I've told you, I've given you facts now. The constitutional powers outweighs the power of the Bible and the Quran combined. That is an undisputed fact. So please, let us continue to share this message. Let us raise the awareness in our people. We need to deepen the knowledge of the powers we possess collectively as citizens to hold our governance to account. Very, very important point. Thank you very much.
Is still, if you ask me.
Having had a stint with local government authorities, I know that they have their own security meetings. They have, as you mentioned, they have traditional rulers, they have religious leaders, they have CDAs, community development associations, that meet at these meetings and ensure that things don't go awry.
The community development associations are not really doing what they're supposed to do, and that's where you need to come in. You see, these are bodies created. These are bodies they create. They are only community development associations in name. In reality, a community development association will never be in existence, and yet you would have bad roads, no water, no light, no hospital. It is not. It is. They are shell. They are empty shell bodies. We must either populate it in our local government areas. In our local communities, be a member of a local community association. We must be, and begin to vocalize and remind our people. Please, when you are a member, go and ask one simple question. I will simply ask one question. Do those people in the community development association, are they aware of this? Do they know these powers that you see on the screen? Do they know it? I guarantee you many of them will not have even heard about it, because what their job is not to do anything for the community, but to appear that they've done something whilst they are looting the money. That is the big difference in this. That is why we must participate. I'm telling you, this is something that is so fundamental. We need a radical approach. And I know many people hearing me now, but oh, this guy is just going on about this. But it is so fundamental. In the UK here, if your roads are bad, you can call somebody in the council, tell them, and within 2 to 3 weeks, that road is fixed. If there's no light on your street, you can call. That is because the people in the government, they take the people's demand seriously. Do you have a number to call in your local government area for concerns about bad road? Do they pick it up? What is the response time? Do you know all of these things? So when they talk about community development association, they are empty shells. We need to begin to be part of this process. If they say they are, you can come as a community. You go down there and say, okay, you are for this community. You must begin to participate collectively. If we don't do that, nothing will change. And we need you to do this, because the step that we are going to go through ultimately is to achieve the insertion of a referendum in the Constitution to go for self-determination. So what we are saying here is a methodical process to achieve the ultimate goal, which is to have self-determination. Because right now, you can see there are so many hurdles that have been put in our way. Without participating in the process, we can't achieve anything. So I just want to bring that. Please take a screenshot of 142A, 142C. It is so relevant to everything that's been done. It is the foundation of the entire nation. It is literally the foundation of the entire nation. And the glaring thing that is worrying is that this foundation of the nation is something that we've been conditioned to totally ignore. And of course, we wonder why it's not working. Because the conditioning by praying and fasting and buying oils and believing and this miracle, that. You don't need miracle. What you need is collectively beginning to exercise your constitutional powers as a sovereign to hold your government to account. I do, please excuse me if I'm very, very forthright and direct in what I'm saying here. We need this message to reach into our communities. Thank you.
I also recall that in my own hometown and perhaps a number of other communities, there is right there in the middle of the town, remember the son of whom you are. You get into a community, it is you are strange, you don't look like anyone around, people are asking questions. But today it doesn't seem to be what is in existence. Otherwise, I don't know if we'll be having the same kind of insecurity that we are having, particularly at the local communities now, especially because our security agents tell us, security consultants tell us, all insecurity is local. So in terms of local government autonomy, where would you say we are? Do you think we mean it, or as Chamberlain cited the other time, we're just tongue-in-cheek about local government autonomy or local government authorities doing the needful?
Well, my initial take is to say that there's no such thing as local government before you talk about its autonomy, or what did you call it again? So there is no such thing, because local government means there's government existing at that level with full spread out activities being carried out and with clear indications of what is achieving every week, every month, every quarter, and every year. What you have...
You see, I spoke about this before, didn't I? I spoke about the need for us in our community to begin to have monthly meetings. That is where you will know if your local council is working. But please, let us be very frank. If one or two people are going to meetings and telling you we've spoken to somebody, something will get done. That is not, it is evidence that the local government is not in existence. They are trying to stop the system from working. It requires collective effort in each of the communities. You need to come together for your own benefit. The road that you want, that comes to your street, that comes to your front of your house, that to be fixed, that road is going to lead to the main road. So we need to work together rather than just thinking, oh, if I get my money, I'm fine. If you don't get good roads, you will simply spend the money they are giving to you to fix your exhaust, to fix your bumper, to fix your shock absorber, to fix all of those things because of the bad roads. So we need to think holistically, collectively about the benefits. If you do not get together and have a meeting, monthly allocation, to make a monthly meeting, holding those your local government chairman, state assembly member, House of Reps, and senator, telling them, look, we have no hospital. One day, your family may need medical help, and they may die in the process. So these are things, our lack of action has consequences. What I'm trying to tell us is, collectively in those communities, there are millions of naira going into our local government area, and we don't even know. I'll give you an example. Alimosho local government area, they collect 1 billion naira every month from the Federal Account Allocation Committee. 1 billion naira. Yet there are no roads, no water, no light, no schools, no bridges, no health care. But because we are not collectively as a community coming together and realizing that we have the power to hold them to account, the looting of the money by those who are elected to serve you will continue. So our active daily participation is of immense importance. I just want to really bring that point out, because what he's saying, we don't have, in reality, we haven't got local government in operation. They are skeleton. They are local government in name, but the operation is so you can't see it. We are doing it, but there's no evidence of it because the roads are bad. The schools are dilapidated. There is no health care. There is no water. There is no public facilities. You know, it is. We need active participation, is what I'm saying. And where everything is saying is pointing to what I've been bringing to the table. And it is the foundation for any viable nation. People, please, I know if those of you who've watched me before, you probably get it. But we are emphasizing this point for those who may be joining and to be able to be actively participating. We need all our people in our local government to begin to think together, to come together, to use those powers. And they will get the things they need. I'm telling you, there are funds going in that our people don't know of, and we need to begin. You have the power to question them, and they must provide the answers. Let's go forward.
Clerical assistants to most governors who occupy the office of local government chairman ought have little or no access to their actual budget. In some reported cases, I am not in a position to confirm, but I know somebody who had been in that position claimed that they got some kind of a regular monthly, I won't use the word allowance, sum that is totally at variance with the budget for the area, and that everybody keeps quiet, otherwise the thing is to ship out. So here we are. Governors have security votes, and I'll tell you how a former governor deployed his security votes. When he was sworn in, first of all, he slashed it dramatically, then walked out the 177 local government, what do you call them now? Communities in his state, and that's where he shared out the money. He got them patrol vehicles, and he told them this thing you just said. If a stranger walks into your community and you don't know, you are not there. If crime happens here and you say you don't know how it happened, all of you are conspirators. You know yourselves. I am the governor. I can't come here to secure you. I'm not from your village. You're from your village. And so he did that, got them patrol vehicles, made these allowances available to them on a monthly basis, and that's how he secured the state, and that's how the place was managed from the angle of security. That was P2B in Anambra State.
Well,
So governors, rational rulers, it's not enough when you say they are holding security town hall meetings. It happens in the state capital. Very important people will come. Most of them will sleep through the session. Total number of people present, probably 500. Their contact with local communities close to zero. And you say, yes, we've held a summit on security in the state. The real Nigerians are not people like you and me. They are in the villages. They don't wear suits. They are not on TV.
this is why I talk about, somebody wrote something, Chima John. Please, let me be very, very clear. Chima John, you said, which new government, fraudulent government, and you'll be calling yourself a freedom fighter, chameleon. Okay, that's fine. That's your opinion. I take no offense. I am very clear in my approach. I'm very, very clear. Let me categorically state, I am for Yoruba Nation. And I firmly believe that without actively participating in our governance, to hold them to account and to steer our people towards directing elected officials to insert a referendum clause in the constitution, we cannot achieve Yoruba Nation or Biafra Nation. That is my view. So what I'm saying here is to ultimately lead us to achieving that same goal. You want Biafra Nation. I get it. I want Yoruba Nation. We have slightly different views on how to achieve it. But for me, I firmly believe that without participating in our governance, we will not be able to achieve the goal of Biafra or Yoruba Nation. Take it or leave it. That's my view. But of course, you are entitled to your opinion. We are all trying to achieve something. If you believe that it's a different way, of course, proceed with that. But I'm very, very clear myself. I firmly believe that self-determination via referendum is the only way. To achieve referendum, we need to participate in the current process and to steer it in the right direction till we get to the point where referendum can be inserted in this constitution. I hope that makes things clear. But going forward to what he's saying, you know, the participation, you can see now, because they know that we're not going to participate, their shell, all the bodies that you're seeing that they say they're working for people, they are shell bodies. Their bodies they're just like a name. It's like you open a box and you see something on the box. When you open, the box is empty. That is what is happening in our communities. We must populate those bodies, like I said, from the villages into the towns, into the hot suburbs. They need to be part of that process, or else they will continue to impersonate the people and loot the money. That's all I'm saying. There is nothing wrong in saying for our people to participate in the governance, because we can have access to resources to hold and begin to hold our governors to account. It only cost 100 million naira to build a 300-seater, a 300 hospital bed facility. And our local government, on average, they get minimum of 150 million naira upwards every month. But because we're not participating in our government, we don't know these things. Now, if we are going to get people to leave to say they're going to go, they need, what are they going to go to? How are they going to achieve it? Is it just by shouting alone to say, I want to go, that you'll get? You can't go like that. They need to participate in that process. And to say we're going to break away. How do you break away from a nation? You need to be part of the process to bring in place the referendum clause in the constitution that everybody will have equal opportunity to vote upon, and the government recognizes. And the key thing is, if you do go and set up a referendum on your own as one part of the nation, it is not going to be recognized. So what I am saying, I'm very, very clear about this. What I'm saying is our participation is insofar as we go for the ultimate goal, referendum, so we can express our self-determination. What he's saying here is really, it ties into what I'm saying, because the bodies that they create, They say 500 people attend, but it actually excludes the local community from the process of governance. And we must encourage our people to begin to speak up. When you go to the church and you go to the mosque and you think you are influencing your government, you are kidding yourself. You are kidding yourself. These documents they don't have any power. They are zero. They have zero powers. Anyway, let me just carry on.
Go to where they are. Local government chairmen do not exist to drive big cars. They exist to become the cement holding the communities under them together.
Again, I said it before. Every community must begin to call your local government chairman, state house of assembly members, house of reps, senators to monthly meetings. If that doesn't happen, any chance you want to go for any separation as Biafra, or it's going to be a pipe dream, I'm afraid. I want Yoruba Nation tomorrow, but we have to work towards it. And the work is worth participating in this system to the point whereby our people will know, right, referendum is what we must have because the governance is failing us. And they are aware of it. Many people don't even know what is in the Constitution of Nigeria. How can they go for any new nation? Do they understand what they're doing? That's what I'm saying here. I don't know it all. I'm only proposing some ideas for us to a way forward for us to achieve our ultimate goal. I want Yoruba Nation, be in no doubt. I want my Yoruba Nation, be in no doubt. It is there. You see that? That's me. That's my Yoruba Nation right there. You see? It is there. You can see it. It is there. You can see it. So I'm no shaking on that one for me. But I know, and I'm realistic enough to know that this is not something that's going to happen right now. So we need our people to be aware. They have to participate in we've been lied to long enough. If we know, and I'm calling that for the federal government of Nigeria to begin to translate all the constitution into Igbo language, into Yoruba language, into Middle Belt language, into Efik, into Asian, so that we all know what's going on. When you don't know what the government, the law says, you can't participate in that process. That's what we're trying to say here. Let's proceed.
But the question that will also
in summary
arise,
and in response to your question, or to sum the response,
yes,
the point is this. Local government chairmen need to be seen to be doing something as autonomous and independent and effective components of public governance.
Okay. Well, there are those who will also speak to the legality or otherwise of local government autonomy, or, as you said, local government existence in the first place. So, Dr. Bani, speak to that, because this conversation around local governments being autonomous, local government being a tier of government altogether is not even existent in the first place. There are those who are wondering, look, as Prof said, local governments are just administrative units. But I was part of the Third Republic, and I saw how actively the local governments were trying to ensure good governance in their areas. I could almost not even hear the name of the governor at the time. The local governments were very active. Particularly, I recall Mushin local government, Apapa local government, and Lagos Island local government. They even had their own businesses spread all over the city. So, do we have a constitutionally guaranteed local government system or not?
That's a
very good question. Let's see how he answers that. I can tell you the answer. I'll tell you my answer.
State governors that refuse to conduct election into local government administration, and immediately I filed a suit. Most of them rushed and held what you call an election. That was not really election. It's like appointing caretaker committee chairman that they were doing prior to that court case. What is going on today, Ayo, is something that we should make Nigerians to gather in a national stadium and begin to mourn and cry, over the evil that has actually fallen over the land. The issue of joint state account that the Constitution of 1999 made a mistake in putting into the Constitution, but it was for a good reason. That money comes from the federal allocation into that state account. Then the state.
Did I just not talk about Federal Account Allocation Committee? Did I not just talk about it? You are hearing it now.
It also bring their own counterpart and put into that particular account, and then local government administrators are allowed to administer the local government in accordance with the constitution, because they have a role that the constitution itself has assigned. But from 1999 till date, well, 1999 there was some semblance of local government administration that was allowed, because I remember that there was a local government chairman called Keso Baja in my own local government, Ikwano. I remember that the transformers were giving water, borehole. We are giving in local government villages in my local government under Ojos Okano's administration. But after some time, the second tenure of Ojos Okano, he started now to tamper with the money that was coming to local government. They will ask them, maybe they have 50 million. They ask them to sign that they have received that 50 million. After signing, they just give them 5 million. 45, so that this guy.
Did you hear that? They asked if they've received 50 million. After that, they will take the money and give them 5 million. That is what it's still happening now. Oh. It's still happening now. That is why we have to participate in our governance, using those powers of sovereignty, and we have to teach our people. People don't know. Market women will not know what we are saying. The farmers will not know this information. The vulcanizer will not have any clue what you're talking about. The booker woman will not know it. We need to share this information with them so they can become part of the process to improve their lives. This is what I'm talking about. These are really very important points. Please share this, because all the discussions that we're having, it is meaningless without addressing the central issue of our participation. When we participate collectively in our community, they will not be able to loot, because we are monitoring what they are doing. That is our job. Right.
It's new that this is a honey pie.
Okay,
and
let's
sat on it for many years up to now, including all the
up to now. What did I say? I didn't listen. I said up till now, and he's confirming it. It's up till now. So we have no other choice for us to participate, to encourage our people, those of us in diaspora. The message that we're sharing here is not about calling this one name, calling that one name. Our community, our people are suffering because they are not doing what they don't know they possess these powers. And believe you me, if we begin to encourage them, it will reduce the stress on us abroad. We will not have to be sending money home every month. There are benefits for us in being part of this process, And I'm trying to explain that in a way that makes it viable. Because if we begin to do that, you will not have to be coming together as a community and have a fundraiser for one community or the other. Or this person is damaged, or we have to pay money together. By getting them to be part of that process on a daily basis, monitoring them, because the money that we are putting together in diaspora, sending home, it is a tiny minuscule to what the government of the day in Nigeria is giving to every local government area every month. Every month. Now let's go forward.
Is corporate. All of them are guilty. All of them.
Let's wind down with this, and if you make it brief, it will be appreciated. The governors have just come back from their retreats in Kigali. Shouldn't we...
Governors going to Kigali for a retreat, they are not showing or demonstrating that they understand the pains of the citizen. They go to Kigali in Rwanda. What? Yet they are telling us to, we feel your pains. They should be demonstrating the feeling of pains by spending that retreat within the country and using any of the funds to help improve the lives of the people as we speak. They should be supporting the motion to get the refineries fixed. But you're hearing they've gone to Kigali. It's a waste of money, in my opinion. But let's listen on.
Expect at least a better manifestation, an improved manifestation of democratic ethos from the governors. Prof, let me start with you.
Let's not kid ourselves. That's all I will say to that question. Because, see, no matter how much you feed a cat, it will not become a lion. It's a cat. The earthworm crawls The anaconda and python crawls, but the earthworm is not a species of anaconda. It's an earthworm. So when you're not primed for leadership and you go to Kigali and receive lectures, part of the time, in fact, most of the time, you're either lounging or you're doing shopping, you have your Easter code, because you made a trip and came back. Number one, there's no proof anything is. Number two, assuming it's really for training on leadership, the question is, should they have gone?
Waiting I talk. It's a waste of money. No be so I talk am. Now waiting I talk. Now waste of money. We don't talk am. Maybe they hear am. Then go Kigali for waiting. I beg.
Don't we have in the country enough institutions to deal with that? For which even foreigners come? So let's not this. They could have gone to NIPS for that. They could have come to the Nigerian Army Resource Center for that. There are several institutions. So without questioning the fact that there's value in the trip, if anybody is expecting dramatic performance as outcome of that trip, the person must ask himself, the individuals involved, look at the number of trainings they've had since they've been in public office and measure their performance after such trainings against their overall performance in office.
And nobody's
a waste of money.
Training.
A waste of
But
money,
when you
and we can
waste
hold them
our
to account.
scarce resources
That's what I'm telling you.
in
We
going
can
to a
hold
country
you can hold
that
your
you are
local
better
your
you
governor
are
to your
better
own
than that
community.
country. It is something
To
again,
explain as a sovereign.
We are better than Rwanda, for God's sake, in terms of indicators. Economic indicators, but we are better than. There are beautiful places, there are even beautiful institutions that can train our nation. Now, leadership. If by now we don't know what we need as a nation before you become a governor, then you should go and cry.
All right, gentlemen, we thank you for coming on.
what
Dr.
I'm
Monday
saying?
Bani, former chairman.
So listen, what they spoke about there in its entirety, you can see that what is underpinning everything, and it confirms it. What underpins everything is the need for our communities. It is not we abroad alone that will do this. Our role is to empower our people. What you're seeing on the screen is the foundation for everything. Not the Bible, not this useless Bible. I'm sorry to say it. As far as Africa is concerned, anybody holding a Bible or Quran and telling you to believe in this and believe in that, they are distracting you from fulfilling your true destiny in Africa. End of story. Take it or leave it from me. That is the reality. What we need is this information, because I've just told you. I told you on the broadcast that the Constitution is supreme above any Bible or Quran. And that is what we need our people to begin to activate and hold to account. All of those trips, if the people know that if the government know that the people are watching them and participating in the governance, they'll be afraid. If they hear say we go Kigali, go do Faji, then go vex. I know they. Because the people are active. But we have to teach our people. It's not going to happen overnight. I'm very, very realistic about that. It's not going to happen overnight. But it is something that we need to begin to put in place within our community. And those of us abroad in diaspora, please, I need you to be part of the struggle. It's not about Citizen AY. It's about what will improve the lives of our communities collectively. Until such a time that we can now go for Yoruba Nation, Biafra Nation, and so on and so forth. Because there are people right now, to say that they are ready to go for any breakup in the state that we are in without even knowing the laws, we are kidding ourselves. It has to start from here. Take it or leave it from me. Because they are stuck in this. Our people are stuck in these Bibles and the Qurans. And if you are stuck here, you will never be able to exercise the powers you need to hold anybody to account, even if you were to get Yoruba Nation or Biafra. We need to do this process. It's not going to be magic wand. I'm sorry, I got news flash. This is no magic wand. It is working together consistently. So those of us abroad, that you know how things work, where you are abroad, you see how things work. To make that be the same in our own place on ground, we need to begin to awaken the knowledge within our people. Make them know the powers they possess. Because those are the powers that they're using in the places that we come to enjoy abroad. That's the reality of what we're facing. I'm sorry to be, very, very direct about this, but there is no other way to say this. It is going to require collective effort. We are trying to reach 774 local government areas with over 200 million people that don't know their constitutional rights. It is not going to be easy, but we need to begin that process. So please do join me. If this resonates with you, I hope you've already shared the broadcast. If you shared it 10 times, share it 20 times, 100 times. Share it to as many people, because the information here is to awaken our people. It's about reaching our people on ground to begin to connect to them. And we are calling on the federal government. Please translate the laws in that constitution into Yoruba language, into Igbo, into Asian language, Efik, and so on. Please, 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 we urge you, do so. And I'm making this call now. I would like to be able to translate this into various languages. Anybody that's able to help us do that and get the printout and everything else done, please get in touch. Let us do this together, because I'm prepared to work with a group of people. It doesn't have to be by myself alone. We can do this together, because it will help our communities to begin to stand up for themselves. The Bible and the Quran makes you look to somebody else to help to do what you can do yourself with the Constitution. And by doing this, we give them the power to free themselves. That's what I'm saying. Now, let's go forward. I'm going to forward to I need to. So please take a screenshot of what you see on the screen and share it to family and friends, because we need that information to reach as many people as possible. I know I might have to cut this discussion into this broadcast into two, and do the second part of it in terms of the Gabon thing separately because of time. But I hope that take a screenshot of this, please. I'll put it on there for a few minutes whilst you're watching. Take a screenshot, share it. These are information. Again, I'm telling you, I kid you not. The Bible and the Quran combined, they have no constitutional powers. They are zero. They are just to deceive you. There is no connection with the people you call your government. Oh, well, God, please, by God, Jesus Christ, Allah, please do this for us. It is a way to. They don't have any constitutional powers. You have the powers that I'm showing you on the screen, and we are trying to show you how you can use it in your communities. We've done this in Yoruba, in Igbo, in Pidgin English. I'll show it on other platforms. I can't show it now because it's going to take a lot of work, but I'll come back again. And no doubt, we'll be doing shows where we'll be talking about this in our local languages. And I want to encourage people to share this in our communities, so that we start raising the level of awareness about our rights as citizens in Nigeria. To raise that level of awareness so people can begin to hold those they elect into office to account. Many of our people are afraid. They are afraid of the people they elect into office, and that shouldn't be the case. And they are afraid because they don't know that they're sovereigns. That is the reality. I bet you. I'm sure you'll agree with me on that one. So let us see. I'll see if I'm able to. I may not be able to. I think. I think I'm really pushed for time. Let me see the next part of this broadcast briefly. So let me forward it a touch. 1 second. Give me 1 sec. Let me just see what I can do here. Just want to check something right quick. Okay. 1 second. No, that's not it. Okay. Give me 1 sec. Let me just check something whilst we're doing this. I just want to just take a quick check on something here whilst I'm doing this. So beg your pardon. The screen will change somewhat briefly. Oh, okay. I see what's going on. Okay, don't worry. We can't do that just now. I need to redo it another way. But look, what I'm going to do, only for time purposes, because of time purposes. 1 minute. Oops, sorry about that. Sorry. I think I've done. It's gonna rise somewhat, but we'll get through it somehow. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I want to thank you all very much for joining me now. Only for time purposes, I'm gonna come back and do the second segment in terms of the Gabon and the coup. And here's one thing I want to say about that coup. There's been some things that's been happening with that. It seems as though the people who had the coup in Gabon, they are closely tied to the family of the current president. And that makes us wonder, is it a coup that has a hand of the colonials, the French in it? And also there's been no mention of support from either Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, or Guinea. about this coup. And we heard that the new man has been involved in embezzlement of funds, buying 3 houses somewhere all over in the Western world. So that is another concern that we're looking at there. But what I will do is, if I'm able to, when I come back later on, let me go and come back. I need to go and do some swimming. I will be back later on. Only for time purposes, we can't cover that side. I will cover the second segment. I'll make it part 2 of this discussion when I come back. But for now, I want to thank you so much for the time you've given. We covered the 8-point agenda of Tinubu, largely by what they said. But please keep in mind, this is what is the fundamental for all of us. Those of us abroad, for us to be able to stop sending money home to people who are at home, we need them to begin. We have to help them raise the level of awareness within their communities to begin to hold their government to account. They have far more money coming into their local government area than we can ever provide, all of us combined. They have far more. That's a fact. But they don't know it. And they don't know that they possess the sovereign powers. So our job should be to encourage and teach this to our communities. And of course, the long-term goal is to go for Yoruba nation. But if you don't even know you are a sovereign, how can you go for Yoruba nation? If you don't know the powers you have as a citizen, how can you go for Yoruba nation? How can you go for Biafra? You don't know it. The man said it. In the villages, they don't know anything. That is where we need to go right now to change the dynamics of things. So please take the time to watch this video again. Share it to communities here and there. Please don't forget, subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. Hit notification button. Give us thumbs up. Help us reach more people. I would like to stay. I have so much would like to say. There's much more to talk about on this. But no doubt we're going to come back and talk about this. And I want us to really encourage our people to begin to know that they possess these powers. The powers that they possess is more powerful than the Bible and the Quran combined. They don't know it. Going to any church to think that will fix your road or your water or your schools or you will get better good roads, it's not, or hospitals, it's a pie in the sky. It will never happen. You possess those powers. Our job collectively, as particularly those of us who are in diaspora, who see how things work, let's get engaged in this process. Let's be part of this process. Let's come together as groups and making sure that we begin to awaken people, literally community by community, to the powers they possess. Because when they activate those powers, guess what? We will not need to send money back home. We will not. That will come to a stop because they will know how to do this stuff and how to consistently hold those in government to account. We can do this. It is doable. And the long-term goal, I state again, for those who may not have heard me earlier on, my long-term goal is Yoruba nation. I'm very clear about that because I do not believe and I do not see Nigeria functioning. And at that point, when the people who are awakening, when they see themselves, they themselves will compel their elected officials to insert a referendum clause in that constitution. At that point, we can now go for self-determination for Biafra and Yoruba nation and so on and so forth. That is only my view, of course. I don't have a crystal ball. But we will see what happens. So I will come back later and talk about that Gabon issue. On one hand, it's a very good thing, but I fear that the people of Gabon may have been tricked. I fear that they may have been tricked, and we will come back and look at that in greater detail later on. But for now, what's left for me to say is I want to thank you so much for joining me. Those of you who are on, I want to thank everybody. If I don't mention your name, I will endeavor to try and mention as many names as I can. Chima John, even though we have a different of opinion, I greet you. Osamu Obasuyi, I greet you. Many others that I might have missed in the earlier broadcast. If I didn't mention your name, I'm sorry. I was really trying to answer as many people as possible, but I didn't. Because of what we're trying to do, obviously, it does take some time, and you try and get a few things done as much as possible. Let me quickly go and look on the YouTube side. Please, if you as you come in on YouTube, give us thumbs up. Always give us a thumbs up, like the page, subscribe to Citizen AY, hit the notification button, give us thumbs up. Help us reach more people. It would really help to get the page, running and moving. Show. So, Waris Dinodu, thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. I'm actually going to do something with you right now. I'm going to add you as a moderator on here. So, my brother, I appreciate you. Waris Dinodu, as ever, you are always on point, and thank you for coming on board on Facebook, on YouTube. Please subscribe to Citizen AY. Give us thumbs up. Give us thumbs up as you go onto Citizen AY on YouTube. Help us reach more people. And I notice more people are coming and joining now on the broadcast on Facebook. Thank you and welcome. I'm about to bring this to an end. What I'd like you to do is go back and play the broadcast from the beginning and watch what we discussed. That way you can have a clearer picture of what we're talking about. We focus solely on the 8-point plan of President Tinubu, the discussions around that, and that is tied into the knowledge that we require as citizens to hold our governance to account. Section 14.2a and 14.2c. 14.2a, the participation by the people in the government shall be in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. 14.2c, sorry, 14.2a, let me say again, I keep 14.2a, sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. That's 14.2a. 14.2c, the participation by the people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. So please, this is something we need to share in our community. Those of us in diaspora, it would really serve us in the long run by participating in the process to raise the level of awareness in our people about their rights in their local languages, particularly so. I'm calling on as many people who as possible to help us in actually working on translating this constitution into our local languages. We will need some funds, whatever you can do in terms of stars, donations, subscribing. Even by subscribing alone, you can help. And share and letting these people subscribing, let it be as much as possible. Then we can even begin to take on that task, and bring it forward so that our communities begin to understand the powers that they are governed by in their own language. I hope this makes sense. You've been watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. We aim to encourage our people to empower ourselves. We know that Africa, again, another issue I talked about, Africa is being oppressed by racist, and I say that, RACIST, racist financial institutions and policies, the structures. It is underpinning the underdevelopment of Africa. We will come again and talk about that at length at some point later on. But I really want us to really begin to empower people to wake up. This is something that I hope you willingly involve, engage, and join in. And the best way you can help us now, the best way you can help Citizen AY to achieve many of these things is to go right ahead now. Go to Citizen AY on YouTube. Hit subscription button. Hit notification button. Give us thumbs up. Help us reach more people. We really appreciate your support. And we will continue to endeavor to ask you to be, part of this process. Let me just do something quickly. I just got an idea that I want to do before I go. One more thing. I'm going to do something here. 1 second. I want to really thank you for the time that you've given us, and let's continue to share this important information that we're sharing with you. You see that what we do is on this platform, we like to speak truth to power. We're not here to do tittle-tattle. We're here to really enlighten our people, because we've been put in the dark for so long collectively, and it's impacting our lives. Those of us, whether you are abroad or at home, we are impacted negatively by this clear plan to keep us in the dark. And what we should be willing to do now is to enlighten our people, to really empower them to be able to take control of their destiny. As it currently stands, many in our communities are not in control of their destiny because they don't even know the laws that they're governed by. So they cannot actually participate in that process. And our job right now is to share this kind of relevant, important information to begin to awaken the consciousness of our people to the power they possess, and to begin to strip away the layers of lies that the religions of Islam and Christianity represents in their lives. It is negatively impacting their lives. Many of them believe that if they're a good Christian, they will have a good life. If they're a good Muslim, they have a good life. And all of that is not the case. You and I know for a fact that what I'm saying is the case, particularly as we are abroad. So our role is to begin to awaken them, to begin to really speak to those things that are going to awaken them, and let us help them reach the true potential in life by beginning to hold the governor to account. And many people who are even so-called educated, they are educated in how we are going to be even enslaved mentally, and we need to break the shackle of the chains of enslavement that we've all collectively faced. So, what is left for me to say now is to say to you, thank you so very much. You are watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Don't forget, go ahead, subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. Please give us thumbs up. Please give us thumbs up. Help us reach as many people as possible. The best way you can help us, you can stars, super chat. If all we would like you to do for us is to like the page, subscribe. When you like the page, it reaches more people, and the information will reach more and more people and awaken more and more of our people. So thank you so much. I will be back later on with the second part of this broadcast, which will focus on the Gabon coup and the likely ramifications of what has happened there. What does that mean to us? How does that impact? What is the likely impact of that for not only Nigeria, but the whole of Africa, and what we can do and how we can use that as a way, as an opportunity to get good governance in, contractual Nigeria. Anyway, there's more to be said. And of course, as ever, we urge you, don't forget, subscribe to Citizen AY, hit the notification button, give us thumbs up. I'll be back later on. Thank you so very much. You are watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. So, what is left for me to say now is I'll be back later on. Thank you and bye for now. I'll be back later on. Thank you so much. I'll join you later on with the second part of this, which will be about the Gabon coup, and perhaps we'll talk about the issue of the financial institutions, the racist institutions that are oppressing the whole of Africa, and we'll break that down in detail for you all as well. Thank you and have a good afternoon. Pleasant weekend if I don't get to see you, but hopefully do tune in and join Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll be back later on. Thank you and bye for now. Bye for now. Bye. So... okay, so again, what's left for me to say? Thank you for joining this discussion. Let me just make that I'm sorry if I didn't, if you are on YouTube, I can see that it's slightly off. I just want to make sure that information, you can get it. You got one part of it. I want you to get the second part of it very clearly as well. I just see that now. Sometimes when you're doing that, you don't get to see it properly. But let me just make that clearer, slightly clearer, so that you can get to see it. So let me just adjust that. I was trying to fix it, but sometimes it does happen. So now, please let me just do something with that before I bring that to an end. We have ended the broadcast now, of course, on Facebook, but we're still here on YouTube. Please, so there you are. Take a screenshot of that, which is the constitutional powers that we possess, and share it to your communities. Really, really important. Like I said, I'll be back with the second part of this broadcast to do with the Gabon coup and its implications and ramifications, and we will talk later on. In the meantime, thank you for watching. You are watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll be back later on. Talk soon. You take care.